Hi, my name is Daniel, student number 4260576, and today for the learning activity we will be making apple and sultana muffins. We are making apple and sultana muffins by following a recipe. We are doing this to show students that you can learn different types of measurement through the recipe. Different units like grams, kilograms, litres and milliliters. We will be using different types of measuring devices like a scale, measuring cups, measuring spoons, and we will be learning about different forms of measurement like time and temperature. So we are about to start doing the recipe. My wife will be helping me today and she will be explaining the process as she goes through it.
Before you even start making your recipe, you need to preheat your oven. It's really important that you look at what temperature is listed on the recipe so that you don't either undercook your recipe or overcook your recipe or burn it. So the recipe states that we need to have a temperature of 180 degrees. So let's do that now so that we can preheat it for our cooking. I'm turning the knob slowly because I don't want to turn it too inaccurately. I need to make sure that my dial matches 180 degrees. Today we've got a digital scale here. A scale is definitely an instrument to measure the mass of something, and our recipe today requires 200 grams of plain self-raising flour. So what we need to do is turn our scale on. Now, if I was to add the bowl onto the scale, that would add extra weight onto the scale, and therefore I wouldn't get an accurate measurement of how much flour I need. So once I put my bowl onto the scale, we have to do something called tearing, or to tear the scale. So what that means is it actually brings the scale back down to zero. So it acts as though nothing is actually on the scale. And then when we put in 200 grams of flour, it's actually going to be an accurate measure of 200 grams. So what I'm doing, I'm not going to put a lot in at once. Reason being is I only need 200 grams. So I don't really want to go over. So if I do it slowly and only get a little bit at a time, I can watch the numbers move on my scale as I go. I've only put 90 grams in at the moment. So let's add slowly until we get to 200 grams. Alrighty. There we go, 200 grams, well 202, but 2 grams in a recipe isn't going to make much of a difference. Okay, we just looked at how to measure the grams and how we would use a scale to measure how much flour we would need for our recipe. I'm now going to show you a different instrument that it can be used to measure the quantity of something that we need. Today we're going to look at 1 teaspoon in particular. Our recipe requires us to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. So how we do that is we can use these pre-prepared tools. Now these are formal tools that we can use, and the one that we need today is 1 teaspoon. We need to make sure that it clearly states 1 teaspoon so that our recipe has an accurate measure. Okay. What I'm doing is leveling the teaspoon. The reason I'm leveling the teaspoon is because I want to have the exact amount that I need for the recipe. If I add more, it may sway the way the recipe works out. Now we'll be looking at a different form of measurement. We're actually going to be using mils this time around. Now mils is usually used when we have liquids, and in this case we need to put milk in our recipe. The recipe asks for half a cup of milk. So what we've got prepared here is an instrument called a measuring cup. This measuring cup has 1/2 listed on the top here, so I know that I'm putting the right amount in the recipe. The muffins are now ready to put into the oven. The temperature has been preset at 180 degrees. We now have to bake these for 25 minutes. And that ties us into our time. Time is another form of measurement, and we need to make sure that we are putting them in for the right amount of time so that they don't burn or don't undercook.
So as before, we had to wait 25 minutes for the cooking. If we start from here, when we put it in, we know that 25 minutes is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So it means that the muffins are ready to come out of the oven. And after 25 minutes, here is the final product. Apple and sultana muffins.